Oh, go ahead. We are talking about our TV and movie crushes and what has helped in media to inform our sexuality.
Right. So I'm in my mid-40s. So I started off my life, pre-internet,
How did you porn?
I'll tell you how I porned. I porned by staying up late and watching Cinemax on the cable while my parents were asleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because that's what we did back then in my day. And so I was exposed to these various they were all like foreign films that were dubbed into English, and they were all like basically softcore porn with a plot. Or in some cases, sort of a plot. Yeah.
It's art house cinema.
Yes, very artsy. And there were a lot of those that I don't really remember much about, like what they were, other than the sex scenes. But one of them that does stand out in my mind because it was, in some ways, oddly progressive for its time. It was called Emmanuel. It was so popular that it inspired like an entire huge amount of series, like several series in several countries based on it later on. And yeah, it was something. It was for my young libidinous self, it was very attractive. And it had some really good stuff in it. It was problematic. It was made in the same year as I was, 74. Mm-hmm. It was kind of anti-monogamous, much like myself as well. I had a lot of lesbian sexuality, much like myself. So, it's very formative, really. So lesbianism, there had women actually being attracted to each other, which I had never heard of. It was completely new to me, just off the wall. What? Women think each other are hot? Is that a thing that can happen?
Not just performing for men, but actually enjoying sex with each other for
all
their own sake.
Yeah.
Look, if two women have sex and a man isn't there to enjoy it,
did it
even happen?
Right.
I mean, that's 1974.
Right. And so this was a huge mind explosion to me, and I picked up so many little things from it that sort of carried on later in life, and I didn't realize, just the idea of being attracted to and being able to express attraction to more than one person, and the idea that could be okay and someone could encourage you that was all in there, and I never heard of that outside of that movie at all.
And it seems to have struck a chord.
Yeah, perhaps it did. Perhaps it did. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. Just like people being sexual with each other openly, and it was an interesting movie. It was based on basically a fake autobiography that the wife of a French ambassador made back in the 50s, I think. Mm. And yeah.
Yeah, was this anything that you
reminiscing,
ever...
are we?
Right? Yeah, was this anything that you ever got to share with somebody on any level? Was this like a personal discovery? I mean...
Later on, when I was, much older and able to be like, hey, there was this thing. I've shared it with a couple of people since then. And it's interesting going back and seeing wow, that was really progressive, and also in some ways that's really terrible.
Yeah.
Really terrible. Because,
But for the time, it was progressive.
Yeah, no,
right.
that's tricky, right? We were even talking before the show about, things like The Office and these other films that do these really interesting things that are, maybe pushing the conversation and pushing society forward. But that, even only 10 years out, we kind of look back and go, "Hooey,
right.
that could have been handled a little more gently."
Yeah. In hindsight, you're kind of like, that did not age well.
Yeah.
The first real
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
The first real positive trans representation I saw was on Better Than Chocolate, a little lesbian film, and it was played by a cis guy, and looking back on it, I was like, oh, but it was still beautiful for its time, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting the way that we grow up above things and beyond them. So yeah, that's my film.
That's your film? All right.
A little bit of softcore porn from the 70s.
Heyo.
Hey. Well, we all need a little bit of that. Oh, did you just say top that?
Yeah.
I will do my very best. Thank you.